Okay, so folks, with the recent release of Brutal Half-Life version 3, which became available for download, I think on the 27th of December. Anyway, this is a specific guide to get it up and running on the Steam Deck in gaming mode and handheld up mode specifically. It runs pretty well, actually. There's a couple of steps involved, but it should take no more than 6 minutes or so to get up and running. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so once you're in desktop mode, what we're going to do is go ahead and open a browser window. And in Google, we're going to just type Brutal Half-Life. And it'll be the first link in ModDB. Go ahead and click that. Go ahead and get the zip file. Go to download now. And it's about 320 megabytes, so not too bad at all. The download should start automatically. And if it doesn't, you can use the links there or the mirrors. So let that download. So once that's downloaded, you can close the browser window and you're going to open up Dolphin File Manager here on the bottom left. And go ahead and go to downloads. You can find them under places here on the left. That'll be typically your default download window. And it's a .zip file, but your SteamOS will have a program called Arc built in. And that will allow you to extract the zip file. So you can go ahead and right click it and open with Arc. And where we want to extract this is, so we're going to go to drop this little arrow down beside extract. We're going to go to extract to. Now, if you go to places and hit the root of home, and we're going into the folder .steam. Now, you have to bear in mind that this will not be visible by default if you've not changed your view settings. So if you do not see the .steam folder within home and deck, go to this options button right here, and you'll see show hidden files. So that's what it looked like when it's not visible. But you need to show hidden files in order to get to that .steam folder. So once you get into that folder, then you're going to go into Steam again. You're going to go to Steam Apps. You're going to go to Common, and then you're going to find your Half-Life directory. So it'll just be called Half-Life here. And what we're going to do is we're going to extract to this directory. So you will see here on the right hand side, let's say extract into subfolder BHL version 3. Make sure that this is enabled, because if you don't and you don't have a folder, it'll start throwing all the files into your root directory of Half-Life, which you don't want to do. You need to have a folder called BHL V3 sitting in the Half-Life folder, just to be very, very clear. So just make sure you visually check this first. And that's your name of your folder, which is correct. Go ahead and extract that. Once that's done, you can see, just to verify it, to confirm, the mod should be sitting in home.steam, Steam Apps, Common, Half-Life, BHL V3. So once you've that done, you need to make sure one thing. You need to actually exit Steam. So the mod won't show up until you actually exit Steam and restart it. And again, with SteamOS by default, you might think Steam is not running, but it actually is. So if you see in the bottom right hand corner here, you'll see it, this little icon. So you want to go right click and exit Steam, and the icon will eventually disappear on your Steam desktop. So go ahead and launch Steam again, a regular version first before we go into gaming mode, just to do a little test to make sure everything is okay. It'll log you back into your Steam session, go to view and games. And if you go to installed locally, you'll now see an entry called Brutal Half-Life. So folks, what I've decided to do here is actually switch to recording this on my camera, because I think it's more effective to show this part of the tutorial in handheld mode specifically. So I'm going to return to gaming mode. So you can double click that on the desktop. Now, once we're back into gaming mode, there's a couple of things we want to do here. So just to be clear, as I showed you earlier, Brutal Half-Life will be listed as a selectable game, but we're not actually going to launch the game through that. We're going to launch it through Half-Life. So these are specific settings to get it working properly on the Steam Deck. Bear in mind. So the first thing we want to do when we're back in game mode, go into actually Half-Life, not Brutal Half-Life, but just regular old Half-Life, and go over to the settings menu. We're going to go down to properties, and in this we're going to go to compatibility. Now, by default, it will Half-Life, the 25th anniversary edition, will not be using any compatibility tools, but we need to use a specific one to get Brutal Half-Life working. So on your actual Half-Life settings, force the compatibility and force it to use Proton version 904, as I've selected here. 904 is the version that will work with Brutal Half-Life. Okay, and once you've that done, go back up to General Settings, and under the launch options, type the following: -game space BHL _V3. So sorry folks, I had to zoom in there. So under the game, under the launch options, you need to type -game BHL version 3. Okay, sorry, it's not really shown very clear in the camera. But once you've that typed in and you've the compatibility tool forced, you can go ahead and hit play. Now remember, this is set to use Brutal Half-Life only. So if you want to play the original Half-Life, you need to remove that command from your settings. And as you can see now, we have Brutal Half-Life up and running. I have my performance monitor on just to show folks the performance settings. I have it overlay set to 2 here just to show folks it runs pretty well, the mod. Now there's one other thing we need to do. It's in relation to controls. So by default, for some reason when you're running this mod, the left analog doesn't work by default, and you have to kind of mimic it or force it to do different settings. So by default, when you go to the control settings, it will be using the official layout for Half-Life. See it there, official Half-Life layout. But the problem with that is, for some reason, as I said, the analog doesn't work. So you need to actually change the analog settings as well for just the left analog. Okay, so go to edit layout. And if you go down to joysticks, okay, you will see by default right joystick should be joystick mouse, and that's fine. And it'll also set it to click for the flashlight, okay. Now by default, your left joystick behavior will be just joystick, okay. Now if you have it set to that, it won't work. You won't be able to move. So there's some bug at the moment. So instead of that, set it to directional pad. And what you're going to do is you're going to manually add commands. So if you go to up analog on the left, what you want to do is you want to click in here. So add command on the left analog up, and then tab over to keyboard, and you're going to set that to W. Then you're going to do S for this one, and you're going to do A, and you're going to do D. So basically WASD. And if you want to add the click command, I typically use control, which allows me to duck. So just to be very, very clear, for the left joystick behavior, you need to set it currently to directional pad, WSAD, and control key for left click, and again setting to directional pad. And once you've that done, I'm going to go just into new game. I'm going to move around here, and as you can see, I can move it around now. Let's just do medium. Do some tests here. Let's get my HEB suit. Go through here. I think this one loads up a Quake map or something. This is a Doom level 1. So anyway, good one to test out. Yeah, so bear in mind, just the only thing is Brutal Half-Life is quite taxing, but as I said, it runs it pretty well. When there's loads of shit going on, yeah, it gets pretty intense and it might dip. But overall, it runs pretty well. I'm just going to get into some action real quick. This dude has his back to me for whatever reason. Oh no, head crabs, I hurt them. Fuck off you. I'm just gonna have to jump over there. There we go. They're shooting the head crabs. Oh no, run away! Oh no. Turn on the flashlight quick. Where are you? It's probably a little bit easier to play this in keyboard and mouse, but as I said, it is quite playable. I'm not going to deny. Might have to make some tweaks with the auto aim somewhat. And bear in mind you're playing a mod too. Can't go back out. Oh, well, let's go on to the next level real quick. Here we go. It's going to play the entire Doom campaign, it seems. You got slapped. Dual Desert Eagles, that'll do. Anyway, yeah, that's me playing Brutal Half-Life on the Steam Deck. It does work. Some minor frame rates kind of slow down somewhat, but again, I think it's rather playable. I'd say if you locked it to 40 FPS, as in if you locked it here, and you set your frame limit to still very playable, and it should probably keep a little bit more stable. But yeah, overall very good. And it's maybe some little initial tweaking as well with the controls, in particular around the auto aim. Anyway, let's see how things go. Maybe some other further updates will come out for this, but I doubt it with the Brutal Half-Life crew. I mean, the last update we had was years ago, so let's see what happens. But for now, it's playable, and yeah, that's how we get it up and running. And if this has helped, folks, please consider supporting my work by liking and subscribing. Drop a comment down below if this has helped you, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.